welcome to the next video. Today I am working on something very special and near and dear to my heart. Actually, I have this old tablecloth from my grandmother and it's very beautiful, and I was originally going to turn it into a skirt. That's why it looks like this. It's going to be a really cute gathered lace skirt, but as you can see, the hemline, just because of the different angles, was very uneven, and I just really want to do this tablecloth justice and also be able to use it more often. And so what I'm thinking is I've been seeing really cute lace shoulder bags, and I would love to make one. Then whatever I don't use, I'm hoping to use and cut out different squares and scraps and whatever to use in future blouses that I make, because I've been really loving very frilly, lacy blouses. What I'm thinking is, hopefully from the picture you can kind of have a better idea, but basically this edge is very pretty, and it's almost a little bit scalloped. It has a very faint scallop. And so what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to cut about probably 3 inches width all the way around and make sure they match, and I'm going to put that all together because that's going to be a ruffle edge all the way around the perimeter of the bag. And so then the rest of it, the body, will be just the lace itself. And so it'll be very simple, very quick. I know I've done a bag recently in the past, but I really just want to use this lace and be able to use what I want for the purse project, and then be able to use it for future projects on whatever, so I don't have to wait and worry that I'm gonna run out of it or whatever. I can just use it all for the purse right now, and then whatever scraps I have left I can save and use in my future projects. Okay, I'm going to show you this just in case you wanted to follow along and make your own. So basically I have my scallops pretty much all lined up along my 1 inch mark. It doesn't matter what inch it's lined up on, but basically you just need it to be straight across, that it's lining up straight across the line, okay? So then I went up 4 inches on my ruler, so I went up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm laying this ruler all the way across to that other horizontal line. So basically I'm making a parallel strip, okay? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to just use my rotary cutter all the way across. And just in case, let's say that your ruler, like your fabric, goes past that, what you can do, and what I do most of the time, is I will just eyeball it. If it's going, then I eyeball it a bit, and then I'll scooch it down and then try to line it up again with, like, let's say that's still connected. It didn't reach all the way. My ruler line goes to here. So then I'll move that over a little bit so now I can see my new line. That way I can move this up and match it up with the edge of the fabric there, and then I can finish cutting it with the rotary cutter. So anyway, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and square up the sides. You can see that because my skirt was at an angle, it comes off like that. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up straight across. Then I'm going to take this, line it up perpendicular to it, and make sure that that is straight and that is straight, so it creates a nice edge for whenever I join these strips together and gather them to make a long ruffled piece. So that is what I'm doing, and I just want to show you in case you wanted to follow along. I actually found some old bias binding that I made, and so what I'm going to do is instead of sewing and serging, I mean my serger's not working anyway, but instead of serging it, I don't think this lace would do well through the serger. So to preserve the lace as much as possible, I'm going to go ahead and just bind this. And so the reason why I left a little bit at the end is, I'll show you. Let me go ahead and just straight stitch this, and then we'll be good. And I'm going to do it at a 1/4 of an inch. So the reason why I left a little bit of tail or an edge on this piece, because I'm going to go ahead and flip it up, and then I'm going to fold it over like that. So I folded it up, that way it's all encased, and then I'm going to fold it over like that. So I have it like that, and then I'll fold it over one more time. That way all of those raw edges are all encased and it looks so nice and beautiful. So then I'm going to stitch in the ditch and really be catching that stitching line. So I'm going to do that. And the reason why I didn't leave a little flap here is because this is going to go inside the purse bag. This little is going to be all gathered, and so this raw edge will all be inside the purse, and then I'm going to bind the inside of the purse. So that's why I'm waiting until the end. That way it can be one continuous loop instead of doing it now, because it doesn't need to be done right now. So anyway, let me stitch this down. And then let's look. Yep, and I caught it. So we are all good. So then that is how it'll be finished along the edge. Hopefully that doesn't bother me too bad. That's just the best way that I could figure out how to make it look nice without while still preserving the lace, because I am scrapping this together. I mean, these panels, because it was originally a skirt, it's not continuous, so I have to kind of piece it together like this, which is fine. And it's working and it's good. So anyway, I'm going to keep on connecting them like this, and then I will show you how I'm going to gather them. Alright, I have connected all of my lace panels, and so now I am just going to be sewing a basting stitch all along this raw edge, and then I will be gathering it. I have just used my pattern paper. I folded it in half. It used to be this big sheet. It was a big rectangle. I kind of eyeballed it, and then I unfolded it and I kind of rounded it out anywhere that was needed. But basically this is the shape that I'm thinking, and all of the ruffle that we just made and that I'm going to gather is going to all go on this edge and be sandwiched in between those two layers. And so it's going to be super gathered. And then I'm thinking for this inside edge, since it'll be raw and I didn't really want it to be just finished with my bias binding, that what I'm going to do is I will eventually finish it with bias binding, but what I'm thinking is that I have some scraps, where did I put them? Of the lace from whenever I made it a skirt, and I kept them and I just really found them. So they're too skinny to be the 4 inches. So what I'm thinking is that I can make them all one length across and then even gather these and have it be double ruffle around the inside and ruffle around the outside, if you're feeling and understanding what my vision. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut out 2 of these with the lace. Okay, so this is it now, all cut out, and I wanted it to be one continuous circle because I wanted the gathers to be able to just go all the way around. And I do realize that this is going to show and that I'm going to have to put it on like with this part facing my body, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. So now I'm going to go ahead and start to gather this, that way I can know how much of it I need to go in there. And the way that it's going to be sandwiched is it'll actually be like inside there, and then I'll like flip it inside out, if that makes sense. I'm going to start gathering it, and for anyone curious, it did end up being about 4 yards and 1/4. So if you're wanting to recreate this, like I said, that's how much I have to work with to gather it around this circle. So it's going to be very, very gathered, which is good. That's what I want. So it's going to be super cute. So I just love it already. I just wanted to talk about gathering for a little bit, just for, I mean, not for a little bit, but just for a second, because your gathering stitches are, the reason why you based it is because you're going to use those back threads, so the bobbin threads. So the ones on the bottom. So if you stitched both of your lines both exactly the same way, you should have two bobbin threads that you can pull and then gather. And so then you're holding on to both of those bobbin threads because you made two different parallel lines, and then you're just kind of shimmying it down. Let me figure out this for a second. There we go. And so then you hold those, pull it down, and so on and so forth until all of it is gathered. Now, mine is fraying quite a bit just because all of the little lace trim is all starting to fray off, which is fine because I have the stitching there. But doesn't that look so cute already though? I think that's probably going to be the volume of ruffles going around it. So, which I'm really excited about. I think that looks really cute. Just look how beautiful this lace is. Oh my gosh. It is just so gorgeous. I have pinned or clipped. I pinned some of it, I clipped the other. I'm going to eventually change all the clips because I remembered that I had the clips. Anyway, I waited to sew this last panel together just because I wanted to make sure that the ruffles were going to be evenly distributed around the bag before I closed it up and everything. So just so you know, this isn't how I'm going to do it. It is going to be sandwiched in there. It's actually going to go around the inside. The ruffles will be on the inside. But I just wanted to let you know that if you're following along, go ahead and finish this edge with the binding or sew it together or however you're doing it once you have had all of your ruffles distributed evenly. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that edge, then I will sandwich the ruffles inside of here and do it, and I'll show you how I'm going to sandwich it because it's actually all going to be like encased and stuff in there, and then we'll sew around the edge and then fold it inside out of each other. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, that's fine because I'm going to show you, but I'm going to just finish this seam really quick and then we can sandwich it and I'll show you how to do that. After I finish that edge I've just been sandwiching the ruffle into the purse. So you can see along these clips that ruffle is in between those two layers. And so that's what I'm doing is I'm going along here. I'm just matching it up, making sure all of those layers are right. Matching up along the raw edges. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing that I was doing with the bias binding to this edge. So I'm just going to sew straight along it. After this, I'll match it up with that. And then that is how I finish that edge. So I don't think you necessarily need to see that because it's exactly how I did it with this, just around in a circle instead of a straight line, which is pretty much the same thing. So that is how I'm finishing it. And then we'll move on to the inside of the handles as well. Once I finish pinning the rest of this, it will all be enclosed in there, and I'll sew along this outside edge and then I'll turn it inside out. We have attached the binding to it, so now we're going to turn it inside out. The grand reveal, the outside of the bag. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, that's exactly what I was imagining. Oh yeah, that's perfect. You can't even see the bias binding through it. So that's the exact same color. So, oh, perfect. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's super cute. So yeah, like I said, these little parts with the binding will be visible, but if I face those towards my body, they won't be seen. It'll just be as outside part and it'll just look fabulous. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's like a big sunshine. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to move on to these inner ones, and those will be kind of ruffles going in, scrunching in. So I think that's going to be super cute to finish those edges. Because I could just bind it, but I think it'd be cuter to do little ruffles. So I will do that, and it'll honestly be probably the same exact process of adding the ruffle to here. It's just that it's a smaller area and going around, and then I'm gonna bias binding around it. So yep, I will show you whenever it's all done.